Gifty. Gifty. Hi, Christina. I'm Keisha Butler.
Hi, Keisha. How are you? Nice to meet you.
So I think normally like they wait until like a few minutes to let everybody come in,
Okay.
like maybe like 9:05.
Okay, so I'm back. Hi again.
Again.
All right. Hi, Keisha.
Hey, Gifty.
Hi, David. How are you feeling?
No,
A bit
David. I
better?
think he's on mute.
Okay. All right. So, um, we have uh, quite a few people that have joined in already. Should we give it a minute or two or get started?
No, I would give another minute or two.
And yeah, another minute or two,
Yeah.
right? Okay, thank you. All right.
I know I had to change the Zoom link.
Okay.
So everyone had to be sent an email. So I just want to make sure that they all received the correct one.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Keisha. Maybe we start at it's 9:03. We could start at 9:05 maybe to give
Yes,
others a chance. I
yes.
seen one person joined. Okay.
Mm,
All right. So I think we can get started. Good morning, everyone. We'll wait for Keisha, I think. Should we start? Are we recording?
yes, Gifty, we are recording.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Gifty Oduro Ostrander. I'm a senior business advisor at the Stony Brook SBDC. Welcome to today's workshop, and thank you to our speaker, Kristina Hind, for presenting for the SBDC. Kristina is a CPA She's back for a repeat of her popular workshop, Bookkeeping Basics for Small Business Owners. She'll share her background with you shortly. This business workshop, it's about keeping best practices for bookkeeping. So she'll share tips on that, basic tax tips, as well as helping you make sense of your financial reports. We all know how important it is to keep books up to date for small businesses. So managing your bookkeeping proactively helps you stay financially stable, be in compliance, and make better business decisions. So let's stay for this important workshop so we can learn more about how to keep our books up to date. We are joined this morning by a few of our business advisors as well as our admin staff. I just want to take a brief moment to talk about our services. So the SBDC in general offers free and confidential one-on-one counseling for businesses in all stages, be it startups or an established business. Even if you just have a business idea you want to explore to see if it has potential, we are here for you. So definitely please reach out to us if you have any business questions or any needs. I want to also mention the counseling areas in which we do counseling. It's a wide variety, right? We have financial planning. We do that, certification and procurement, business planning, accessing capital, industry research, marketing, international trade, technology assistance, disaster assistance, and much, much more. It's a very long list. So it's a free service. We encourage you to come to us so we can see how best to assist you. We will share information on how to make appointments with us in the chat very soon. So Kristina has asked that we share our questions, put it in the chat, and at the end of the presentation, we will do a Q&A session. So please place your questions in the chat, and the speaker will definitely attend to all questions. So at this point, let's turn this presentation over to Kristina. Thank you very much for doing this. And it's over to you now.
Well, thank you for that introduction, Gifty. And welcome everybody. I am excited to present today and talk about the world of accounting and basically the whole point of the presentation is to get you started off right if this is your first year of business, or even if you're 2 or 3 years in and you feel like, oh, maybe I could be doing things better. This is definitely going to give you some clarity around where to get started. So just to go through the agenda first, I'm going to do an introduction, basically defining what bookkeeping is. Then we'll go through some best practices, tech stack, go through the different financial statements, what they mean, how to read them, different entity types, and what would be best for your business, and then the basics of tax planning and tax saving strategies, and then we'll go through that Q&A. So just to give you a little bit of background about me, I've been an accountant now. I graduated college in 2011. I got my master's in taxation in 2012. And from there, I started working in audit for BDO Seidman. It's now just BDO. It used to be BDO Seidman. That was my first job out of college. I was in audit, and from there, I had shifted to private practice and worked at Arrow Electronics, which is a Fortune 150 company. And landed at Northwell, where I was doing budgeting and advising and managing their ambulatory service uh, department over their finance department. So after that, and during that whole time, I was actually doing taxes at night and on the weekends for a local firm here on Long Island. And that's really where I gained a lot of experience and decided that that's the path I was going to take. So I left the corporate world at that point and jumped right in and started working with small businesses and decided to start my own firm. So it's been one heck of a journey and lots of ups and downs, but I feel like this is where I'm meant to be. So that's a little bit about me and how I got to where I am today. So, before we get into like the meat of the presentation, I just kind of wanted to touch on profits, right? So we go into business because we want to provide for our families and we want to leave a legacy for them and, do the work that we really love. And in order to do that, we need to have profit, right? So what is profit? So it's pretty basic definition. It's revenue minus your expenses equals profit. So you want your revenue to be more than your expenses so that you're keeping money in your pocket at the end of the day to pay yourself and invest in the future of your business and whatever goals you have. So in order to know what that number is, you need to have a clear picture of your business finances. And to have that clear picture, you need the foundation, which is bookkeeping. So bookkeeping is basically the practice of organizing your all the transactions of your business, the financial transactions of your business. So money coming in, money going out. We need to record those transactions to their appropriate accounts. And so this way it will give you a summary of everything that has gone on for the month. And that will give you that picture of, okay, here's my profit and loss statement now after recording all those transactions. And the main components of bookkeeping, besides recording all your transactions, is reconciling the general ledger. So you want to make sure that you are reconciling your bank accounts at the end of every month. And this is to make sure that your financials are accurate. So that is another really important factor, is making sure that the data that's on your financial statements is correct. And doing those reconciliations, make sure that they are correct. So why is bookkeeping important? Like I said, having accurate books and an effective system in place helps business owners make confident financial decisions. So with having financial statements, now you can review how your business is doing every month, and be able to say, okay, maybe this service that we're providing isn't working out. Maybe we should think about just focusing on a different service. If for instance, say you have a business that maybe you're an esthetician and you provide facials and you're doing eyebrow waxing, but your eyebrow waxing is killing it and the facials are really not bringing in any revenue. You can make that decision of, well, maybe we don't need to do the facials anymore. Let's just focus on what is bringing in the revenue so that we can grow that and scale that. So it's really important to have that financial picture. And like I said, the bookkeeping is how you're going to get there. So bookkeeping best practices. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is you want to keep your business and personal finances separate. So my recommendation to all of my clients and anybody that is asking me for advice is I would say set up an LLC right from the start. You have the option of doing, running your business as a sole proprietor, which would basically just mean that you don't start the LLC. So an LLC gives you legal protection. It protects your personal assets. And I'm not an attorney, so I won't talk too much on the legal side of it, but that LLC is going to separate your business from you personally. And now it's also going to give you an EIN. You can go to the IRS, get an EIN, open a business bank account, and have all of your money flowing through that business bank account and keep it completely separate. That's going to give you, it's going to give you organization, clarity, right? And when you need to pay yourself, then it's simply take the money from the business account and transfer it to your personal. I think what happens is, and what I've heard from many business owners is they get hung up on, well, how do I pay myself? It's just a simple, because it's an LLC, you can just transfer the money. And then when it comes to tax return filing time, that entity gets reported on your personal tax return. It's not a separate tax return like an S corporation would be. So that would be my first rule of thumb is keep everything separate. Make sure you have a separate business bank account for your business. Any money that comes through, you want to run it through the business and pay everything through the business. That's going to make sure that you can keep track of all your deductions as well, not just the revenue. I think when you pay for things personally, now you're running the risk of missing out on those deductions later on. So then the next thing that I would say is a best practice would be to have a system for maintaining your receipts. So anything that is above $75, the IRS is going to want to see a receipt. So if they ever audited you, they're going to want to see a receipt for anything over $75. So my recommendation, which would be like you can use it for free, is to have a Google Drive and have a folder for each year, and within that year have each month, and then simply just scan your receipts to the Google Drive and name it with like the vendor name, and the date. So this way, if you were ever audited and an agent said, "Oh, I want to see your bank statements," and they highlight a transaction, now you know, okay, it's from this month. I have to go to this year, this month, and then pull it up, and it's really quick and easy for you. So again, a reminder, set anything $75 and up, they will want a receipt for. Okay, so this one's really important. You definitely want to keep track of your income and expenses on at least a monthly basis. That would be my recommendation. I get it that life gets in the way sometimes, and things get hectic, and you have kids and sports and all the things. So doing it on a monthly basis is going to keep that manageable for you. And then you can also look at your income and your P&L and your balance sheet every month. So this way you can see where your business is at. And again, reconciling your bank balance is extremely important, because that's where you're going to see where things are wrong. So basically, how that works is you look at the statement, the actual statement, the ending balance of that month. So say it's January, you want to see what the ending balance January 31st, and you want to look at your balance sheet to see if they match. And if they don't match, then you know that something is not recorded correctly. And my recommendation, you can always use an Excel sheet to track your business finances, but my recommendation would be to use software. And that's where we're going to get into tech stack. So popular bookkeeping software, one that would be free is Wave Accounting. And FreshBooks, I believe, is also free. Uh, I have a client that has used Wave before, and I think it's pretty good. The next one that is low cost and user friendly is Zero, and then I think everybody knows what QuickBooks Online is. My personal preference is Zero. I think QuickBooks Online is they make it a little more complicated than it needs to be, and there's a lot going on with colors and tabs, and I just think it can get very overwhelming for somebody who's not an accountant. So my recommendation would definitely be Zero. It's very easy, easy interface and like nice to look at, which I think is underrated and way more important than we think. Again, receipt management, Google Drive is like nice and easy. It's free. There's also Dropbox, and then HubDoc would be another receipt management tool. And that is, I believe they have an app that you can use, and it's you download the app, you take a picture of the receipt, and then you name it. Right there, right like on the spot. And HubDoc does integrate with with Zero, so that would be nice. But for purposes of keeping costs down, Google Drive and Dropbox work just as well. Um, Now the next important, really, really important um, um, feature of your business would be payment collection and invoicing. So how are we collecting revenue, right? You want to make sure that it's easy for your clients or your customers to pay you. You don't want to have to be fumbling around with like, okay, like, well, how do I pay you? And it's like, oh yeah, you can Venmo me or send a check, or you want it to be seamless and just like a click of a button. Okay, here's my card. Take my money. And it's gonna the tech that you use is going to depend on the industry you're in, right? So like if you're a retail store, there is Square. Square is a good option. If you are a beauty salon or a wellness studio, there's platforms out there. There's a platform called Boulevard that is really, really good. A couple of my clients are on that. Then there's Mango Mint. There's Honeybook. If you collect online, if you're like a cleaning company, say there's a CRM called Jobber, and all of these CRMs, they give you the ability to invoice through a website and send your invoices out automatically, and now your customers can pay you through that platform. So it makes for tracking revenue easy for yourself and or bookkeeper if you hire one. So those systems are really nice to have. Okay, so let's get into the actual financial statements. There are three really important ones, your balance sheet, your income statement, and your cash flow. So balance sheet is going to give you a picture of a moment in time. It is a snapshot of your assets, what you own. So your assets would be cash, inventory, if you have a brick and mortar, your furniture and fixtures, like anything that is you own, right? Now, and then it's going to show you your liabilities, which is anything at the money that you owe others. So it is any loans, credit cards, SBA loans, anything like that. And then the difference between assets and liabilities is equity, and that is your stake in your business, right? So that's the money left over. Income statement we touched upon briefly already. So this is going to show you the revenue that you earned during a specific period of time. So you can look at it for 1 month, or you can look at it for a year or a quarter. And it's gonna show you, okay, here's your total revenue, your direct costs, which would be like labor, if you're selling products, the products that you're selling, and then all your operating expenses, and what is left over is your profit. And then your cash flow statement is giving you a roadmap of where your cash is going, right? So it's going to show you, okay, here's your beginning cash balance, plus your profit from the month, and then the inflows and outflows of paying debt or paying yourself if you're an LLC. Because when you pay yourself as an LLC, that is considered like a draw on your equity rather than quote unquote payroll. So there's some accounting nuances when it comes to entities types, which I won't get into here. But the cash flow statement is really important when you're trying to manage the flow of your money. And I think where a lot of business owners get hung up in trying to plan for the future and planning for cash and how am I going to pay for things, which is really important. So this statement here gives you a lot of good information of where your money actually went. Okay, so this is entity types is a really important one, because what I've seen from my experience is business owners set up an entity and sometimes go straight to S corporation. And an S corporation is a great tax strategy, but not everyone should be an S corp from the start. And why is that? So S corps are basically, so the way that it works is an S corp is an election that you make with the IRS. So you're going to when you form an entity, you either form an LLC or a C corporation. And a C corporation is basically like Amazon would be a C corporation. They have a separate tax return. The corporation is taxed on their profits, whereas an S corporation is not taxed on the profit. It is a flow-through entity. So you'll get a K-1, and the profits from that business are then reported on your personal tax return. So it's an election that we make later on, once the business starts profiting, like I would say between 50,000 and 100,000 is when you want to start thinking about S corp status and if it makes sense for your business. And the reason why is because there's more compliance with an S corporation. You have to pay yourself a reasonable salary and file payroll taxes every quarter. So there's a lot, and then you have a separate tax return for the business. So there's additional cost that comes along with an S corporation. So my recommendation, like I said earlier in the presentation, would be to go to an LLC. An LLC is going to give you that legal protection that we spoke about. It's filed on your personal tax return, so there's only one tax return still. And then also if you have multi-members, like if you have more than one owner, then you file a partnership return, a Form 1065. And then there's my least favorite would be the sole proprietorship, but it is the least expensive. So an LLC is going to run you probably, I would say, between depending on if you hire somebody to do it for you or if you do it yourself. But if you hire somebody, I would say it will cost about $1,000 to file the LLC because you have to file it with the state, and then you also have to publish in like the newspaper that the entity was formed. Whereas the sole proprietorship, if you wanted to get a DBA, it's $25 and that's it. And you can still get an EIN number with a DBA. But if you do that and then you do the LLC later, then you have to reapply for a new EIN number. So I would say just go straight for the LLC if you can, and this way it's all set up. And then once you start making that $50,000 to $100,000, now you're ready to go straight to S corp. Whereas if you don't have the LLC, you can't make the election, and you'd still have to file for the entity. So that's a little bit about entity types. Now I want to get into some tax planning strategies, and you're not going to see it on this slide, but I wanted to touch base on some deductions that would be available to you that get missed out on a lot, that I've seen people miss out on, and that would be mileage. So for every mile that you drive for your business, so that could be going to the post office, going to a networking event, going to the store to buy furniture for your new office, say you are a hairstylist and you do bridal hair. If you're driving from one client to another, so say you go from your salon to that client, all of those miles are deductible. So for all the miles that you drive for your business, you get 70 cents per mile, and it adds up so fast. And it's a big deduction for self-employed people and small business owners. So basically what you would need to do is you need to track those miles. And my recommendation would be to download an app called Mile IQ. Definitely write that down. Mile IQ is a really great tool. So you get in the car, you hit a button, and you say, okay, this is a business trip, and it tracks it all for you where you're going. And then the trip home is also deductible. So and then you just have to type in like the business purpose of the trip. And then at the end of the year, now you have a nice, beautiful report that you can give to your accountant, and you are ready, you are audit ready. So that's a huge one. And then the home office deduction is also a really great opportunity for some tax savings. So if you are running your business out of your house and you have a separate space for an office, so say you have a separate room for your office, that space is deductible. And you would take, say the room is 200 square feet and your house is 1,200 square feet. You're going to take whatever that percentage is and allocate it to the bills of your home and deduct that on your tax return. So your real estate taxes, your mortgage interest, electric bill, if you don't own your house, your rent, all your bills that are related to the house, security system, landscaping, anything that relates to the house will get deducted on your tax return. Another one would be your personal cell phone bill. If you are using, or personal phone, if you are using your personal phone for business, you can deduct a percentage of that bill on your return. So, I feel like for me, like I use my personal phone, it's mostly for business. So I probably would say 75% of my phone is used for business. Um, I can deduct, 75% of that bill on my return. And then also your home internet. If you are if you're working from home, that internet bill, I would say at least 50% could go to, as a deduction. So now, just now to get into this slide. So, saving for taxes is super important. So, if you are an LLC, your profits are subject to a tax called self-employment tax. And this is where a lot of small business owners get hurt because they don't know about it. It is a flat tax. So it's 15.3% no matter what on your profits. So at a minimum, I would say every month, look at your P&L, look at what your profit is. Say it's a $1,000. You want to take $150 at a minimum and save that for self-employment taxes. And then ideally, I would say save between 25 and 30% to account for income taxes and state income taxes. This way, at the end of the year, you have the money set aside and you can pay those taxes. And just to give you a definition of what self-employment taxes are, it is the equivalent of paying into Social Security and Medicare if you were W-2 employee. So the only difference is that we are paying the employee side and the employer side of the FICA taxes. So when you have a W-2 position, you're paying half, and then your employer is paying the other half on your behalf. We get hit with both sides, unfortunately, but there is a deduction on your personal return for that employer portion. And it's called an above the line deduction. So you do get a deduction for it. It's just that we have to pay both sides. And that's where the S Corp comes in. That S Corporation is going to give you that savings on that self-employment tax because S corporations are not the subject to it. So the profit of the business is only subject to income taxes. And that's why if you see like on social media and whatever, that a lot of influencers push that S election. But it's so important to know that there's additional costs and you do have to take a salary. So once you make S election, you have to make sure that you're taking a salary for yourself and pay. And the reason why is because the IRS knows that you're no longer paying into Social Security with an S election. So they want to make sure, okay, like say you're a therapist and you have a therapy practice and you are profiting $200,000 a year, you have to pay yourself what a therapist would be reasonably paid if you had a W-2 position. So say that was $100,000. Now you're giving yourself $100,000 salary and the 100,000 left over in profit is not paying that self-employment tax. Only the salary portion is. And then one more thing that is important for self-employed people, and a big question and worry, I think, for a lot of individuals is, well, how am I going to save for retirement? Like now I have a business, how am I saving for retirement? So, two investment vehicles that I like a lot are the SEP IRA and Solo 401k. So these two, and then there's also a simple IRA as well out there, but I'm just going to touch upon these two for now. So if you are if you own a business and you are the only employee of that business, you are eligible to invest in a solo 401k. So you can contribute a significant amount of money, and we won't get into the contribution limits in today's presentation, but you can put away a lot of money and it's all tax deferred. And also the SEP IRA is another option. It's just the solo 401k gives you the ability to save more money more quickly than the SEP IRA. But the solo 401k has some more compliance. Um, you have to do more filing. So once the assets of the solo 401k get above $250,000, then you have to file a Form 5500 every year with the IRS. The SEP IRA does not have that filing requirement. So that's a big difference. And then the contribution limits are different. But I would defer to a financial advisor for all of those questions, but just know that these two investment vehicles are available for you for retirement options. This slide is just to give you some resources, and I'm happy to share the presentation with all of you at the end. And then here is the QR code to my website. We're at the end of the presentation now, but basically, I just wanted to give you some information about my firm. So it's called Franklin Accounting, and we offer bookkeeping, budgeting, tax preparation, and advisory. Our specialty is small to medium sized businesses. So we offer bookkeeping packages that includes all of those things. And we also do catch up. So say you have been in business already for a couple of years and you're behind on your books. If that is something that you need help getting caught up on to get ready for this tax season, we are actually offering a promotion right now. So it's if for 12 months for a 12-month catch up, you'll get 3 months free. So if you're interested in our services, you can scan that QR code and you'll see a list of our services, the pricing, and a link to get a free quote. And that's it. And here is my email if you would like to reach out to me directly. I think you're on mute, Gifty.
All right. Thank you, Kristina. Wonderful presentation. We have loads of questions for you. So
Okay.
we'll get started. All right.
Okay.
So the first one from Nadir, but I believe you answered that. He said, will we have access to a copy of the presentation? So the answer is yes. Actually, in about 10 to 15 days or so, we'll have it on our website, I believe. Right,
Yes.
Keisha? Right. So, yes, we do have access, and you also said you could send them to clients as well. So, definitely that was answered. The next one, does the Google Drive has to be under the name of the business email address account? That's a
No.
right.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be. Whatever email, however you want to set it up, as long as it has the information that you need for the receipts.
Okay. Thank you. We have a question from Jane. What do you think about getting the lifetime QuickBooks instead of the subscription for QuickBooks and waste money in the beginning when you just started? That's her question.
I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with what the lifetime subscription is to QuickBooks. But I would say, my recommendation would be to pay for it month to month. So this way you got a feel for if you even like it, because I would hate to see you pay for the whole thing up front. I don't even know. I'm not aware of that that option. But like I said, Zero is also a great platform and what I would push because it's cheaper than QuickBooks. I believe it's like $20 a month for the basic plan.
Okay, thank you. Jane has another question. How much should a bookkeeper slash accountant, BC, I believe you meant B in the beginning, when you make zero money and just getting started figuring out business plan? Jane, you can unmute and ask the question. I'm not sure if I'm relaying the exact message here.
Hi there. Yes,
Okay.
so sorry, my typing is so poor, but
No, no.
That's
um
okay.
I just want to make sure I'm getting the point across. Thank you, Jane.
yes, no, thank you so much. I actually have been trying to look for an accountant or someone to help me out in the beginning, but I am just at the startup stage. I'm figuring
Mm-hmm.
out game plan. I have no idea if I'll even make money in the first few years, but I do know organizing yourself is crucial and critical. And, just like, figuring out all the key pieces, everything that you said was so helpful. But I, I looked at your QR thing and it looks like you're 400 per month to just get started. I went to a different business class and they said an accountant, bookkeeper is roughly, he got it for 150 per month. But that was like 10 or 20 years ago. Realistically, if I make no money and I'm just getting started but need help, like going through everything you just went through, how much should the ballpark be ish? Or if I
Yeah.
even
So my website is basically just it's not the only service I provide. It's just what you're going to see on the website. So I also offer consultations, which would be $197 for an hour. And if you were to sign up for more services with us, that consultation fee is applied to your first invoice. So that's an option for you, which would be lower cost. And then we also have a quarterly package that we offer to clients. That is lower cost than what you see on the website. So basically, you would receive your reports on a like once per quarter rather than once per month. And that helps people out who are in the more beginning stages of business and maybe have no activity for the month. So that's an option as well. But yeah, I would say scan the QR code, and then you can also email me, and I would be happy to set up a call and we could talk more.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Christina. And I believe you also shared some resources, free versions, like
Oh,
weights or
yes.
in the
Mm-hmm.
beginning. So yeah, if you're
Yes.
trying to save for now, I'm not sure,
Yeah,
but
and I
I do
also
remember you gave a listing, right?
Yeah, and I also have I would be happy to share it. There is a template that one of my colleagues have created that I would be happy to share, a bookkeeping template that could be helpful for anybody just getting started.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is from Cynthia. I'm registering my business in January 2026, but I'd like to get started on making the product. So if I buy inventory now, can I show as expenses for next year, or do I need to wait until I open my bank account next year?
So those expenses would be considered startup costs. So you can start buying the inventory now, and it would be shown on your books as an asset and then amortized over the life of the asset. So definitely go ahead and you can start. You don't have to wait for 2026.
Perfect. All right, another question here from Cynthia. I don't have a separate room, but I operate from my bedroom. Can I still get tax deduction for that room?
So the technical answer is the space has to be dedicated to your home office. Um, there's more aggressive accountants out there, some more conservative, so it's going to depend on your accountant and what they decide to do for you. But the technical answer is the space should be a completely separate space for your home office. And dedicated for that space, for your work.
Absolutely. Thank you. Another question from, no, this is a new one from Vida Chandra, and it's regarding deductions. I've heard that if you can deduct the cost of a trip, if you do business on a portion of the trip, could you weigh in on that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you are going, and that's accurate. So if you are traveling for business, say you have a client out of state, or maybe you are going, to a conference, the hotel, the flights, are all deductible, and then you have a certain allowance for your meals, and entertainment. I would have to look up the exact allowance for that portion of it, but your flights and your hotel are fully deductible. And rental car, if you need a rental car. The only one that is like you would have to take a portion of the expense would be your meals.
Thank you. There's a second portion to the question. Can we also do home deduction even if we don't have a separate room? But I believe you just answered that in the
Yes.
previous question. It's got to be a dedicated space.
hmm
Okay. Would the same be for your car payment or is it just mileage?
So when it comes to auto, there's two methods that we can use for deducting that expense. And it would definitely be best to analyze both. But the tracking requirement is the same. You would still need to track your miles, your business miles versus your personal miles. And if the actual expense method, so that's what you're talking about, deducting your car payment. If the car payment, if your car payment, your gas, your maintenance on the car, so like oil changes and all of that, if the total cost of that times the business percent usage is more than the mileage method, then you're going to use that actual method. So there's two methods that you're going to look at, and that would be more something that your accountant would do for you. But they're going to use whichever deduction is higher.
Thank you. The next question is from Lex. No, we just asked Lex's question. The next one is from Tianyi. To open a bank account with LLC, do you recommend starting with a debit card or a credit card?
Um, I think that's gonna depend on the person, in my opinion. If have ever heard of Dave Ramsey, he would tell you pay for everything in cash. And then somebody else is going to tell you, no, do the credit card for the points. I think it's really going to depend on your personality and managing that credit card. My preference would be to pay for things in cash. So this way you're not holding a balance on the credit card and having to pay additional interest. But if you have a credit card and you pay the whole thing off within the next month, and then you're getting points on the card and you have the diligence to do so, I would say go for it. It's just going to depend on, how you are with managing your money.
Okay. Thank you for that. So the next question, I have a question from Mary Buckley. Using a credit card will help your business build credit. If you need a loan in the future, that's important. I guess that was a comment rather than a question.
Right,
Mary, would
just
that be
this is
right?
Mary. Yeah, that was just a
Okay.
comment or maybe a, a something I would pose to
And then, right.
Kristina.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very
that's true
much.
too.
Mhm. Sorry, Christina.
No, that's okay.
Okay. Thank you for that comment. That's helpful. Okay. A question from Hunter. If you operate more than one business out of a home office, will you be able to deduct it for each business?
Just one business.
Right. Definitely. Okay. We have a question from Lex. What happens if to this point you have used Venmo? How would you factor those into taxes?
So Venmo, I I guess it's gonna be I have kind of like a follow-up question, but Venmo has the ability to transfer to a business bank account. So if you're transferring the money into the business bank account, now you have that trail of transactions. If you're not, if you are transferring it into your personal account, Venmo has the ability to you can download a report from them. And my recommendation would be to download that report of all the activity and then go through it to decipher what is business and what is personal, and record those transactions on the business transactions. And then I would say stop using Venmo for collecting payment going forward. That would be my recommendation. Venmo gets very convoluted, and because you can do personal and business, it gets commingled. And then if you have an LLC, now you run the risk of piercing that corporate veil that's protecting your personal assets. So I would say if you want to use something like Venmo for collecting payment, Zelle would be my preference because they can Zelle directly into your business bank account. If you use one like Chase has Zelle for business, and also I believe Wells Fargo offers Zelle for business. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Christina. We have a question from Nadir. How do you manage expenses which are invoiced to clients?
Meaning like reimbursements. So I'm not sure what the question
Right, it's
is.
relating to,
Uh,
right.
Yeah, it's
yeah, so
Nadir, can you?
basically,
Mhm. I wanted her to unmute and explain it further, so,
yes, hi Christina. So I'm
okay.
a
hi.
consultant and I go, so when I go to on a client site, I do invoice them for the travel expense and they do reimburse me. But how do
Hmm.
I manage that? So because now I have expenses that I incurred, do I've registered them as expenses and then the reimbursement as income, or how does that work?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways that you can do it. You can do it either way. But the way that I do it for my clients is the reimbursement I record as income, and I actually have like a separate line for them showing like reimbursements. But if you don't categorize your revenue that way, I would just record it as revenue, and then all those associated expenses should be recorded as an expense, and then they just offset each other. So the impact on your P&L is should be net zero.
Gotcha. Okay, that's the simplest. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. I have a question here from Cynthia. If you pay with cash, then can you just withdraw from your business bank account?
Um, can we elaborate on that question a little
Yeah,
bit?
I can. So you mentioned like, like Dave Ramsey says, like, pay with cash, and your recommendation would also be sometimes to pay with cash. So if I do so, like I'm not carrying my business with already withdrawn money, right? So sometimes I
Oh, I
do have
mean,
to just
yeah, if your business has like a debit card, you can use that if it's a business expense.
Mhm. So
Um,
cash, like when you say cash, like that's what you would mean, like, debited from your business bank account.
yeah, I
Okay.
don't mean like actual cash. Yeah,
Oh,
I
got it.
just mean, yeah, with the money from the business.
Got it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the clarification. So I have a question here. Um, Sorry, I can't quite say the name, so forgive me if it's not said right. It's Caitlin Thomas, oh, I believe it's Caitlin Thomas. I recently received a quote for accounting services from an old friend of mine. His services would include accounting for both my business and my family finances, as well as bookkeeping. You mentioned you would normally price at 400 per month. How much should I expect for the above service package?
I it's really hard to give you an a quote like without speaking to you and understanding the flows of your business. But basically what you should expect when speaking to an accountant is they're going to want to go through the operations of your business. So, like how many bank accounts you have, the different revenue streams, like how many transactions that you have per month. And then based off of that information and how efficient the accounting can be, that's where the quote is going to land. So it's really going to be dependent on the nuances of your business. So if you are looking to get other quotes and you're interested in speaking with me, definitely fill out my form and we can schedule a call one-on-one to talk about it more.
All right. Thank you. A question from Cynthia. If I have the same LLC but two DBAs, will there be different deductions to maintain, or is it the same under one LLC?
Um, so if you're running, I guess I kind of have a follow-up question. Is the DBA for two different legs of the business, or is the two DBAs for the same thing? And you're treating the LLC almost like as an umbrella. So if my like for instance, you have an LLC and maybe you have two different locations and you're calling this location is location A and this is location B and you have two different DBAs, then I would say run two separate books so that this way you can track the profitability of both locations separately to know how each one is doing. That would be my recommendation. For that. And then if the DBA is for the same exact business, same business, and you just wanted to change the name, then you would have one set of books.
Right. Thank you. Okay, another question here from Nadir. How do you manage expenses? I think we answered this already, which are invoiced to clients. All right. So we have another one here from Vida. When you're starting out and are just funding your business through your own cash, say from W-2 earnings, Is there a special way this needs to be accounted for? Because it's not revenue per se.
Right. So that would be considered a capital contribution. So that is the equity that you're adding into your business. So it's not revenue, it would be recorded as equity from an accounting standpoint.
All right. Thank you. I believe these are all the questions. If there is a question I somehow missed, or if anyone has a question, now would be a good time to unmute and let us know, please. Any additional questions? All right. How do we know if we file quarterly or annual taxes?
So quarterly taxes are your estimates unless you are selling a product and you have to pay sales tax. That would be quarterly, and the state would tell you if you were an annual filer. But from the beginning, like say you're selling a product and you register for sales tax, that you're going to file that every quarter until the state tells you not to. And then estimates are quarterly. So estimates are you're going to pay every quarter, and then your tax return is filed once a year.
Thank you, Kristina. Any additional questions? I believe this is it. Well, it's been unbelievably wonderful. I'm so glad you came to talk to everyone. I hope everyone got a lot of value. Thank you very much. I certainly did, learned a lot. So thank you, Kristina. After the workshop closes out, you will receive a survey. Please take a moment to fill it out and give us feedback. We want to have more of these types of workshops in the future, and your feedback is important and helpful to us. I believe I saw the link in the chat box, right, Keisha? You put the
Yes, it's
link
in there.
there?
I included
Right.
it 2 times, and then also the
Oh,
request for counseling link as well.
perfect. Thank you. So the request for counseling link is in there as well. And as you mentioned, Kristina, the website, we will have the recording, right, of the presentation. It will be on our website, and you have your contact information as well there, and people can receive it directly from you as well. So again, thank you everyone for attending this workshop. Most of all, thank you, Kristina, for donating your time to
Thank
us
you.
today. We appreciate all the
Absolutely.
information you gave us today. Very helpful indeed. It is a wildly popular workshop, and hopefully you have time to come back and we do a repeat of this. Thank you, everyone, and
Absolutely.
enjoy
Thanks
your
for having.
day.
Enjoy your day and happy Halloween.
Yeah, right. Happy Halloween. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you,
All
everyone.
right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.